Hello. Let's see who's here. Hi, Eve. It's just you and me. Let's see. Are you going to come up on panel with me tonight? Let's see. Post my link. Okay, we'll give it a few minutes here. After we do the next 10 cases, I want to go over Elijah Vue. There's a lot of new information about him. And the couple who were kidnapped on their yacht, and it was found in Grenada. That's pretty similar to a couple of other cases, older cases that I know of. So I wanted to go over that too. Why do my cats pick when I'm doing a live to be assholes? They're jealous. They want my attention. Okay, where is everybody? Who else is live tonight that has more followers than I am? I know one person's going live at 10, so let's see. A few people in here. Hi, Melissa Brown. Would you like to come up on panel? Oh, is Cher live right now, Eve? Oh, do you have to be over there? That's fine if you do. We'll get along. I don't know where all my other mods are. Okay, just a minute. Okay, well, this isn't going to be... Oh, thank you, Eve. Thank you very much. That touches my heart. But I would never expect that. That's very sweet of you. Okay, so let's get going. Looks like this isn't as popular as I thought it would be. I wish more people were interested in legal concepts and the law than just, public opinion and mob mentality. I see in Elijah Vue's and in Summer's case, lock them up till they talk, beat them till they talk, do this and that till they talk. You can't do that. Even if you lock them up, they don't have to talk. I love you too, Eve. I really do. You're just the sweetest. So that's not a way to get someone to confess. And I'm going to go over a case where someone did that, a case that has always bothered me. Kieran's. He was just a young kid, beaten. They had to carry him out of the interview room because he was beaten badly. He couldn't even walk. He's all slumped. And they got him to confess to these 3 murders, which I'm positive he did not commit. And there's several reasons for that. And he was locked up for, I think, 60 years until he died. Maybe longer. Just really an injustice. I see someone just got released in Tennessee for wrongful imprisonment and is going to sue. I forget what county that is. Okay, so we're going to go through these. Eve, you're welcome to come up if you want. Melissa, you can come up. Okay. We're going to do this first, then we'll do Elijah, and then we'll do the couple with the yacht. Case number 11. Too much horsing around at Bonner Arms Pub. This is in London, England, 1901. Deleu v. White and Sons. A pregnant Mrs. Deleu was working behind the bar at her husband's pub, Bonner Arms, when an employee of White and Sons negligently drove 2 horses in a van through the pub window. Even though she was not hurt, Deleu was terrified for herself and her unborn child. Hi, Bob. After the accident, she became anxious and ill for 2 months. Then she gave birth prematurely to her child, who had learning disabilities. It being 1901, the child's learning disabilities were thought to be caused by the shock and illness Deleu suffered because of the accident. Deleu sued White and Sons for emotional distress caused by its employees' negligence. Did Deleu win? Well, I don't know. Yeah, what if the emotional distress, but she's not suing for her child's disabilities? If most people will not have been affected like Deleu, should she still be able to win? I can't answer that. It's called you take your victim as you find them. So, for instance, if you hit someone in the head with a hammer and they have an unusually thin skull, then you're still liable because you don't know the victim's situation. So, all right, let's see what we got here. The High Court. Deleu wins. Injury does not have to be physical. This case paved the way for recovery from mental trauma alone, not just mental trauma caused by physical injury. That's right, she wasn't injured. However, the court said this principle was only for people who could have reasonably expected to get hurt. Lord Kennedy wrote that the shock must be a shock which arises from a reasonable fear of immediate personal injury to oneself. The court said that White and Sons could not argue that if Deleu had been stronger mentally, none of this would have happened. When traumatized, some people suffer long-lasting mental illness and some don't. The court applied an important principle of law. The defendant must take the plaintiff as they find them. I think I just said that. Oh, known as the thin skull rule. We're going to say just what I said. It works like this. If your negligence injures a person with an unexpected frailty, you must pay for their actual injuries, not for the expected injuries that a normal person would have gotten. So, Deleu would not be able to recover any money if there were no damages. So, if she had kept going to work, her baby had been born on time with no disability, then there would be no lost money to recover. Okay, next case. Flint misses the boat. Brooklyn, New York. 1927, Flint v. Robbins Dry Dock and Repair Company. Flint had chartered the steamship. Oh God, I don't know Swiss. Bjornfjord from the ship's owner. Before the charter date, the owners sent the steamship to Robbins Dry Dock for routine maintenance. During maintenance, a Robbins worker negligently damaged the ship's propeller. The company had to order a new propeller, which kept the ship out of water for 2 more weeks. When the ship owners were unable to deliver the steamship to Flint, Flint lost money. Flint sued Robbins Dry Dock for the lost money. Does Flint win? I would say yes. What does anybody here say? Wait, Flint sued Robbins. Oh. Oh, you and I are both wrong, Eve. It says, what is the relationship between Flint and Robbins? Robbins doubg. Okay, the ship's owners could sue for the lost money, but not Robbins. Flint loses. There is no legal or special relationship between Robbins and Flint, so no duty. Flint had an agreement with the owners. The owners had an agreement with Robbins, but there was no agreement between Flint and Robbins. Okay, so Flint should sue the owners, and the owners should sue Robbins. Well, Eve, that one fooled me. The court said that without any direct connection between Robbins and Flint, Robbins does not have a duty to Flint. That means Flint can't win the lawsuit against Robbins, even though Robbins was negligent. Yeah, that goes to standing. Like you suing for something that happened to someone else. Like you don't have standing, so you would be dismissed from the lawsuit because you don't have a legal right to bring that. Let's see. For example, let's say a person's negligence results in a fender bender on the highway, which causes a traffic jam. The court did not want the driver who caused the accident to be liable to every person who got to work late or missed a flight. Well, that's a good point. Well, I was wrong on that one too, Eve. It's more of a learning tool. We're trying to think. Okay, I'm trying to get people to think legally without emotion. Okay, boys search for treasure, find trouble. Tucson, Arizona. This is going to be interesting. Okay, if this is kids, so they're only expected to perform to what would be expected of 14-year-olds. 1977, Grable v. Varela. Joseph Varela, 14, was using a metal detector to look for treasure with his pals in the backyard of a vacant house. Uh-oh. Were they trespassing? I would do the same thing though. Vacant houses are like a magnet for me. Okay, the high, dry grass was keeping the metal detector too far from the ground to work profitably. Uh-oh. So the boys were burning patches of grass to get the metal detector closer to the ground. Suddenly, one of the burning patches got caught up in a gust of wind. Well, it's Arizona. It's hot, it's dry, and the grass was ready to ignite. The grass fire quickly spread to some dead vines on the vacant house. Uh-oh. The boys tried unsuccessfully to put out the fire, which was soon burning down the house. The fire department came. While fighting the fire, firefighter Randall Grable was hurt. Grable received workers' compensation but was not satisfied. He also sued Varela for the injuries. Does Grable win? What do you think? I think it's pretty hard to sue a 14-year-old. I mean, what kind of assets does he have that you would get if you won? Do 14-year-olds, would they be able to reasonably expect that the wind would set the house on fire? I think a firefighter kind of takes on that risk when they fight fires, right? Okay, let's see. Hi, Sunshine. Glad you could join us. Not a very big crowd tonight. We're doing the next 10 cases, and then we're going to do Elijah Vue, and then the couple whose yacht was stolen. Okay. Eve, you're right. Grable loses. Public policy, firefighters can't sue for injuries from fires caused by negligence. That's yes. Oh, sunshine. No, I didn't see it. Yes, it's the duty of his job. Exactly. He takes on that liability. The court determined that Vrella's negligence directly led to Grable's injuries. Ha- Eve? Yay for Eve. However, Grable loses because it's his job to fight fires caused by negligence. There we go. Firefighters don't get to sue negligent people for starting fires. Without those fires, they would not have a job. It's a risky job, but the public pays them for that risk. The public also pays for workers' compensation insurance, so they will get extra money if they are hurt on the job. Grable wanted the court to call Varela an arsonist. Oh my goodness. Injured firefighters can get money from arsonists because arsonists started house fires on purpose, not by accident. That's interesting. If a neighbor had tried to put out the fire and was injured, they would likely win a suit for negligence. Okay. I know, we love Eve, we love Bob, we love Sunshine, we love Melissa. I think that's all that's in here. All you people in the bushes, hello. Oh, Ziggy's burgled after Bobby's bungle search. Birkenhead, England. Excuse me. 1990, Alexandra v. Oxford. Hi, Kirst. Welcome. I was happy to see you too. At 7:20, the burglar alarm in Ziggy's, a clothing store, went off. An automated call was placed to police with a pre-recorded message that basically said, "Come quick to Ziggy's, we're being burgled." The police arrived minutes later and didn't see anything wrong. The alarm continued to ring and police continued their patrols, periodically checking on Ziggy's. 2 hours later, a patrolling officer realized that the alarm had turned off. Upon opening Ziggy's the next morning, the owner, Socrates Alexandru, discovered that clothing worth thousands of pounds had been stolen. This one's going to be interesting. The police did not check the back of the store or try to figure out what caused the alarm to turn on and off. Had they checked back, they would have seen a broken window and bars that had been pried apart. Well, that sounds pretty negligent. Alexandru sued the police. The chief constable, Kenneth Oxford, represented the whole department. Alexandru said that the police owed him for the stolen clothes because they had breached their duty by negligently investigating the alarm. Does Alexandru win? Well, he should have had insurance, right? For his stolen clothes. It said, consider when you are assigned to a job, how good a job do you have to do? Would it be different if Ziggy's had called a private security firm and not the police? I would think the private security firm would be liable because that's their job, right? I mean, that's their job to provide security. Okay. Ziggy says no. I was thinking qualified immunity too, Sunshine. Okay, let's see. Ready? Any more guesses? Okay, Ziggy's loses. Police are held to a lower standard. Really? It's public policy. We don't want everybody suing the police. The lower court agreed with Alexandru. The court said the police breached their duty by performing negligent police work, which led directly to the theft. However, the Court of Appeals disagreed. It said that it was not certain that the robbery could have been prevented, even with excellent police work. That's a good point, too. The Court of Appeals thought public policy was more important. It's unthinkable that the police should be exposed to potential actions for negligence by every disappointed or dissatisfied maker of a 999 call. In other words, the police don't have a duty to investigate every alert, call, or request with the watchfulness, attention, and prudence of a reasonable person. Well, that's kind of sad. It really is. The standard would have been higher for a private security firm because it would have been paid by Ziggy's directly. Well, I was right about that anyway. Okay. I know, craziness. What do you... Yeah. Well, it's not their job to prevent burglaries, but it is their job to investigate. I think it is their job to investigate every 911 call too, but are they liable for that? I guess not. Not in England anyway. Okay. Case 15. Newbie driver crashes car, pleads inexperience. Sheffield, England, 1971, Nettleship v. Weston. Lavinia Weston, a student driver, asked Eric Nettleship, a friend, to teach her how to drive. Nettleship was concerned about Weston's driving skills, but said yes. During the third lesson, Weston was still tentative, and Nettleship had to occasionally shift gears for her or use the handbrake. I don't know if I would. I think I'd get out. Rounding one corner, she turned for too long, and despite Nettleship's efforts to grab the steering wheel and apply the brake, she crashed into a lamppost, which fell into the car and injured Nettleship. Nettleship sued for his injuries. Weston's lawyers gave 3 arguments. First, they said that she should be held to a lower standard because she was a student driver. They also said that her instructor was partly to blame. Finally, they said that Nettleship assumed the risk of an accident because he knew she was an inexperienced driver and still agreed to be in the car with her. Does Nettleship win? Nettleship sued. He was teaching her to drive and he sued. Did he assume the risk when he agreed to teach her? That's what it says to consider. Did Nettleship assume the risk of an accident because he knew Weston's skill level? Do we all assume the risk of being in an accident every time we allow ourselves to be a passenger? Well, that's a good question too. If you were in a car and the person got in an accident because of negligence, would you be able to sue them? I don't know the answer to that either. Okay, does Nettleship win? We have Sunshine saying no and then yes. I'm assuming yes. Eve says yes. Chris with Curiosity says no. Okay. Court of Appeals, split decision. Nettleship is 50% at fault. As instructor, he was partially in control, but every driver is held to the standard of an experienced driver. Shouldn't only one person operate a vehicle? Yes. But was it like a student driver vehicle, where, like when I took driver's ed, the instructor sat in the passenger seat and he also had a brake and some controls of the car. You're trying to be funny. Because Nettleship was an instructor with access to the wheel and not a regular passenger, the court halved the damages that he would otherwise have received. The judges rejected the argument that a new driver is held to a lower standard than an experienced driver. Because cars are so dangerous, any driver, regardless of experience, has a duty to their passengers, pedestrians, other drivers, and property owners. The same is true for most machines, for example, a power saw. The court also said that Nettleship did not legally assume the risk of being in an accident. Just knowing that she was a bad driver was not enough. If Weston wanted Nettleship to give up his right to sue, she should have had him sign a waiver. Yeah, sunshine. I was with a girl that was on her third time of taking driver's ed because she lost the first 2 times. And she drove like a maniac. I'm not kidding. She jumped the curb and was up on a sidewalk and came back down. Then she was going off the road, and one of the front tires was literally in the air over a ditch spinning. And the instructor had his foot on the brake so hard that his head was touching the roof of the car. It was insane. And he said, I'll tell your mom that you're telling the truth if you'll tell my wife that I'm telling the truth, because who would ever believe that? It was insane. Finally, he took her out in the middle of a field, and she was just like driving like 80 miles an hour. We were all flying against one side of the car and then another. I don't think they would allow that these days, but yeah, I'm lucky to come out of that alive. I wonder if I'd have been able to sue. Okay. That's sunshine. Don't you sometimes wonder, she shouldn't have got a license? She didn't. She failed that time too. I mean, 3 times. Her parents raised a stink. They should have gone out and ridden with her once. Don't you wonder sometimes how we live to adulthood, the things that we went through and the things that we did? Thank you, Eve. You're such a sweetie. Okay, case 16. Ladies order chicken, get beef. Oh, I think I just saw this on an episode of Gordon Ramsay's Nightmare Kitchen. Winfield, Kansas, 1955, Guthrie v. Powell. Powell owned a company that bought and sold livestock. Powell's building had 2 floors. The second floor was an area for keeping cattle, and the first floor was a large sales room and lunch stand. I don't know, Kirst. We'll see, won't we? 66-year-old Fanny Hope Guthrie was on the first floor having lunch with some friends. Oh. When plasters started falling on their heads and boards started creaking. Then a 600-pound steer fell through the ceiling and landed on Guthrie, flattening her chair, knocking her unconscious, and causing serious injuries. Oh my God. Guthrie wanted to sue Powell for negligence. Why would you have the cattle on the second floor? Really? From Winfield, Kansas? I don't think I'd keep a bunch of 600-pound steers on the second floor of a lunchroom. Okay. Guthrie wanted to sue Powell for negligence, but she had no idea what the negligence was. All the information about potential causes of the negligence, termites, unfixed broken boards, water leaks, poor construction, and so on, was under Powell's control. Hiring investigators would be inconvenient and costly. She asked the court to grant her res ipsa loquitur, which is Latin for the thing speaks for itself. Res ipsa loquitur is hard to get, but if you do get it, it's like a superpower. It switches the burden of proof to the defendant. Guthrie would not have to prove Powell was negligent. Instead, Powell would have to prove he wasn't negligent. Powell said that the escape of a steer was like a dog escaping a yard. It was not so unusual that it deserved res ipsa loquitur. Does the court grant Guthrie res ipsa loquitur? Bob doesn't, but I think Bob just signs in and then watches wrestling. Hi, Misha. Glad to see you. Do you want to come up on panel? Bob just shows his support by clicking on me. I appreciate it. I think she wins because it makes no sense. I know. Is he serious? And it's not like the steer escaped. It fell through the freaking roof. Okay. Oh. Could Powell say that Guthrie assumed the risk because there were cattle on the floor above her? I don't think so, because you'd think that the cattle were up there safely, right? It wouldn't be reasonable or foreseeable that one would fall through the roof. I don't think. I'm watching. I know you too well, Bob. Okay. That's fine, Misha. Anybody can come up if they want. Okay. Here we go. Now, what is everybody saying? I think she wins. Sunshine said wins. Eve, what say you? Whoever owned the cow should be liable. I think so too. Yes. Guthrie wins, gets res ipsa loquitur. The court agreed that Powell controlled all the information about causes of negligence. Normally, defendants are presumed reasonable until proven negligent. When a court grants res ipsa loquitur, defendants are presumed negligent until they prove themselves reasonable. The court rejected Powell's animal escaping argument. It's likely that termites were the real villains. There's no wrestling on Thursday. Okay. Thursday we're doing a case that is very close to my heart. It's law enforcement corruption on a massive scale. Okay, you don't have to be Anthony Bourdain to know that steers are not supposed to fall through ceilings onto diners. So if your steer falls through your floor onto your guest, that's enough to assume negligence. I agree with that. I don't think you assume the risk just by, yeah. Okay. Case 17. Car fire consumes couple's home. Oh, that's unusual. Oh, I'd be there for that. Oh. Bob is a former wrestler. Can I say that, Bob? And a wrestling manager. Bob loves WWE news. Okay. Car fire consumes couple's home. Kennebunkport, Maine. President Bush's home. 1923, Mitchell Reitchick. Morris Reitchick was driving his car when a bystander told him that his car was smoking. Curse of curiosity. Yes. Reitchick pulled over next to Henry and Emmeline Mitchell's house and saw that his back seat was on fire. Reitchick had no fire extinguisher, so he ran to get water, but by the time he returned, the entire back of the car was aflame. There was nothing he could do. At this point, the Mitchells asked him to move his car, but Reitchick, afraid of an explosion, stood back. Unfortunately, wind blew sparks into the Mitchells' house, which caught fire and then burned to the ground. Damn. The Mitchells sued Reitchick for damage to their home. Do the Mitchells win? Okay. Do they? Yes, pro wrestling. Where was the car? The car was next to their home. So In front, I would say on the side of the street. Okay. Misha says yes. The Mitchells win. Sunshine says no. File an insurance claim. He's not sure. Cards are dangerous. Should users be strictly liable for any damage they cause? Well, that's a good question. If your car malfunctions, yes, Sunshine is. If your car malfunctions and let's say a wheel falls off and you get in an accident, would the person be able to sue you? I don't know. It's not like he set the fire, right? I don't think I'd get in a burning car to move it either. I think that's a reasonable assumption. Okay. Here we go. The Mitchells lose. There was no negligence. Right-Chick acted like a reasonable person. This was Supreme Court decided this. This is one of those accidents where nobody is to blame. Right-Chick acted like a reasonable person by not jumping into a flaming vehicle and driving it around. I agree with that. For some activities, like owning wild animals or using explosives, being careful is not enough. You are strictly liable for damages whether or not you are negligent. By deciding for Right-Chick, the court rejected the idea that driving a car is like using explosives. Drivers are only responsible for the damage their cars cause if they are negligent. It's sad, but the Mitchells must bear the entire cost of this accident. Hopefully they had insurance. Yeah, Sunshine is good on these. Oh, Sunshine, I loved it. I like things that are black and white. Math was always my favorite subject. I loved math. And then I majored in accounting for a year and a half till we got to cost accounting, which is theoretical accounting. So I like black and white, yes or no, good or bad. What's theoretical accounting? Is that even a thing? So then I switched to data processing. And then I got my paralegal degree probably 15 years after that. I loved it. I intended to go to law school, but plans kind of changed. I think you should go. I really do. I love it. I love the law. I had an F on that question. I hate math. I didn't do good on calculus until I went back to get my master's. And I had a calculus teacher there that wasn't even a teacher. He just did that for fun. He taught that class on Saturday for fun. And he just explained it like a light bulb came on. It was so easy and made so much sense. He had such a gift for teaching. Some teachers are like that. They explain it in a way that everybody can understand. I'm not black and white. I'd rather work on changing the laws. Well, and that's a thing that people don't understand too. They don't like the way that a ruling is or the sentence a judge gives, and that's all, decided by statutes and legislation. It's not, the judge has a, what do I want to say? Leniency as far as he has I can't even think of the word, but anyway, if they're too lenient or apply under the required punishment, then yeah, they should be voted out. But I mean, they can't go against the laws. I'll tell you, I met with the governor, our governor of my state. I was in a town hall meeting. I think he was just running then. No, he was the governor. And we go up to ask him questions and stuff afterwards. My picture was actually in the paper with him. And I thought, I smelled something. I'm like, what is that? That smells odd. It smells like pot. And sure enough, the guy next to me went up and asked about legalizing marijuana. Yep. Um, but uh, I know I love having you here, Eve. Um, but you know, the governor told him the same thing I would have said. Like, didn't you go to? He didn't say, didn't you go to? You know, government class in high school. But the governor doesn't decide that. That's the legislature, and there's legislatures there also taking questions. So why the hell didn't he go to them? And people don't understand the way that laws and the legal system works, and it's kind of infuriating. Maybe don't they teach government anymore in high school? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have kids. I don't know anything about that. They don't seem to teach life skills, do they? Like cooking and um, sewing and things like that. Budgeting. Okay. I still actually have the apron I made in middle school. Middle school sewing class. Want to guess how old that is? Pretty darn old. Eve, you're awesome. Everybody's in a silly mood in my chat, including me. Okay, here we go. Case 18. Unseen car hits nurse walking the wrong way. Marquette, Michigan. 1976, Zenny V. Anderson. Eleanor Zenny was walking to work one cold winter morning. She was not walking on the sidewalk because it was icy and covered in more than a foot of snow. Instead, she was walking on a well-worn pedestrian snow path with her back to oncoming traffic on the right-hand side of the road. She's on the wrong side of the road. I can tell you that right now. Karen Anderson was driving her car below the speed limit. Just a minute. Okay, I'm back. I had a cough. Where's that case? Uh-oh. Oh, here it is. Karen Anderson was driving her car below the speed limit when she hit Zenny. Zenny sued. At the trial, both sides disagreed on whether Anderson's windshield was foggy. Anderson said no, while an eyewitness said yes. At the time, there was a Michigan law requiring pedestrians to use sidewalks when they exist. The law said that when there are no sidewalks, pedestrians should, when practical, walk on the left side of the road, facing oncoming traffic. The judge told the jury that it could side with Zenny even if she was negligent if Anderson failed to use ordinary care. Does Zenny win? Well, even if her windshield was foggy, Zenny was still walking on the wrong side of the road. Don't kids know that? I think people don't realize bicycles have to abide by the same rules as cars. They have to stop at stoplights. They can't just go through the intersection. And I see them do it all the time. Ooh, everybody's no, no, no. Okay. Boy, I got a cough tonight. I'm sorry. I apologize. Oh, everybody's wrong. Zenny wins. Zenny was negligent, but Anderson breached her duty to drive with care. Anderson was either not paying attention or driving when she could not see clearly. In either case, she breached her duty to be a careful driver. Zenny was walking on the wrong side of the road, but just because a person breaks the law does not make them automatically negligent. Juries must look at the particular circumstances. You know, if a person breaks the law, does not make them negligent. What if you're a burglar and you break into a business and something falls on you? Can you sue the business? I don't know. I know. I know. But on the other hand, what if it was a little dog? Then I'd say she would be guilty. In this case, the Supreme Court of Michigan and the jury in the first trial thought that the block sidewalk, I'd sue the city for the block sidewalk, actually, and the existence of an often used snowpath meant that Zenny was acting like a reasonable person, even though she was technically breaking the law. The jury and judges followed a Michigan rule that says that the person with the last clear chance to avoid the accident, in this case Anderson, can be held entirely at fault. Now that's interesting because I've never heard of that rule before. Zenny had her back to Anderson. Anderson should have known that Zenny would not jump out of the way because she had no idea she was in danger. After Zenny was able to successfully give an excuse for violating the law, Michigan judges started hearing excuses from many other lawbreakers. That's the problem with setting a precedent. I think so. I heard someone mention that. It's happened here before. Like falling through someone's porch. Yeah. Art of deduction. Hello, welcome. Excuse my voice tonight. Okay. Case 19, bald tires blow. Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, 1936, Elijah v. McAdoo. Half our education is learning how to distinguish what we need to know from what we don't need to know. J.B. McAdoo's tire blew as he was overtaking Clarence Delaire's car on the highway. The sudden flat caused McAdoo to collide with and wreck Delaire's car. Delaire sued McAdoo for negligently driving with unsafe tires. At the trial, a witness described McAdoo's tires as worn pretty well through. You could see the tread in the tire, the inside lining. Does Delaire win? I would say yes. What say you? What if a car part that you could not inspect failed and caused an accident? Then I would say you would not be negligent in that part. Okay. Sunshine says yes. Yes. Sunshine is correct. Reasonable drivers are responsible for knowing the condition and safety of their tires. I agree with your Chief Justice John Kephart of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court wrote, any ordinary individual knows that when a tire is worn through, it's dangerous and must be replaced. All drivers must be held to a knowledge of this fact. A driver can't escape responsibility simply because he says he does not know. He must know. Yeah, I would say horn, lights, windshield wipers, it says. But what if a part of the engine failed? If you had not had your vehicle inspected and maintained on the manufacturer's schedule, it's possible that you could be liable. I was rear-ended by a car in the snow. I pulled out, and I think he was in the other lane. He came over into my lane and then slid into the back of me. And he got a ticket. He fought it, and I had to go to court. And the cop said that, not only, usually when you rear end someone, you're at fault, right? No matter what. But he said that that kid had bald tires too, and he was trying to give him a break by not giving him even more tickets than what he got. Love, how do you pronounce that? Love Star Lurk. Good evening. Welcome. Yes, we're just going to talk about Elijah Vue in a minute. We have one more case here. Woman sued for texting. Absolutely. Poor Elijah. We got a lot to talk about there. You did? Did they catch the drunk driver? How did you get charged? Oh my. Oh, they must have caught him, right? Because they wouldn't have known he was drunk. Do you want to come up and talk about that? Oh my God. Okay, woman sued for texting. This is Mine Hill Township, New Jersey. 2013. Kubert v. Best in Kelowna. Kyle Best and Shannon Kelowna were close friends and texted each other frequently, but not while driving. One day, while Best was driving home from his job at the YMCA, he sent a text to Kelowna. She texted back. As he was typing his reply, his pickup drifted across the center line. He hit send, then immediately crashed into a motorcycle carrying David and Linda Kubert. I can't believe they lived. Oh, that's too bad. She does. Cruise with Curiosity does good stuff. Everybody needs to sub up. Okay. The Kuberts sued Best in Kelowna. I don't know about Kelowna. How would she know that Best was driving? The Kuberts' lawsuit against Best was settled. Their case against Kelowna was appealed to the Superior Court of New Jersey. The timing of the text was discovered, but the content was lost. The Kuberts noticed that it was illegal to text while driving in New Jersey, but Kelowna wasn't driving. They said that Kelowna had aided and abetted Best's unlawful texting while he was driving, and that she had a duty to avoid texting to a person who was driving a motor vehicle. Kelowna's lawyer said that she had no legal duty to avoid sending a text to Best when he was driving, and further that she did not know he was driving. Do the Kuberts win? I would say no. She wasn't driving. You can send a text to anybody you want at any time. It was up to Best whether he wanted to read that text and reply. Okay. Oh, who are they trying to sue? They're suing, Kyle Best was driving the car, which hit them, And Shannon was his friend who was texting him. They're suing her. Okay, the Kuberts lose. The Kuberts did not prove that Colonia knew that Best was driving and would disobey the law while replying. The court said that there was, in general, no duty to not text someone, even if the sender knows that the person is driving. I agree with that. Drivers are expected to be responsible and ignore distractions that might cause accidents. However, the court did think that a person could be liable for texting under certain circumstances. If the sender knows that the recipient is driving and knows that they will be distracted while responding, then there could be a duty. This would be the case if a driver was texting with a person in the back seat of the driver's car. Why would you text someone in your back seat? A duty would be more likely if the person sending the text actively encouraged the driver to read it. But he wouldn't know that unless he read it while driving, right? Oh my goodness. Okay, but anyway, Kelowna won. Okay, so those are the next 10 cases. Now let's get to Elijah Vue. That's such a horrible case. We have the probable cause affidavits. Misha. That's funny. I've heard of people texting from the other room. I gotta check my, okay. Poor Elijah. And what a situation. You know, his mom had just recently gotten custody of him and his sister back because she was a drug addict. And I saw she was using on and off throughout the years by her Facebook. He was only 3. Did you guys read my community post where her daughter was autistic and she was having problems controlling her, and she was injuring Elijah? So I don't know, it's pretty sad. Anybody want to come up and talk about it so I don't have to do it all by myself? Elijah's dead. He's in prison. And I think that was, I can't remember now, was that for child endangerment? Yes, she pushed him out of the wagon. He landed on his head. He was unconscious, for crying out loud. And the daughter isn't that much older, but yeah. Link, please. It's in my community post, Eve. I can, just a minute. I'll read her posts. Cursed. Okay, it's a little boy, 3 years old, from is it Fall River? Fall River? 2 Rivers? Just a minute. Fall River's Lizzie Borden. That's probably not what I'm talking about. Let me look. Um, 3 years old. 2 Rivers? Twin Rivers? Yeah, he disappeared, 3 years old, and he was not with his mother, allegedly. This is the first story. He was with a caretaker. Jesse Vang, 39. His mother's 31. Jesse Vang is a career criminal. And he's got previous child abuse conviction, among other things. So I think she lived in Wisconsin Dells. Just a minute. I thought everybody would be familiar with the case. Okay, the FBI is searching. Yep, Two Rivers Amber Alert. He was last seen at 8 a.m. and then the caretaker went to take a nap, woke up at 11 o'clock, and he was missing. So then he called 911. Was the first story. 3 foot tall, 45 pounds. Yes, Jesse was babysitting, but not exactly babysitting. So we're going to get to that. The mother lived in the Wisconsin Dells. She said she was in the Wisconsin Dells when he went missing, but then they found out that wasn't true. She also claimed she didn't have a phone, but she did, and the police have that. She also claimed she didn't have a car, but she did, and the police have that. So she said she was with her sister in the Wisconsin Dells when he went missing, and that is not true. Oh, that is so true. Okay, so he has 3 foot tall, 45 pounds, dark brown hair, cutest little guy. Birthmark on his left knee, gray sweatpants, red and green dinosaur shoes, possibly carrying a red and white blanket. Okay, so they've been looking for him for 7 days now, I think. And they've searched landfills. They did find, just a minute. What day exactly? Ouch. Just a minute. Okay. Oh yeah, his father's in prison for domestic violence and child abuse too. 7 days ago. 3 days ago. What's today? Today's Monday? Okay, Wednesday, Tuesday. Last Tuesday, he was reported missing. Then Jesse Vang was arrested that night at 2:48 a.m. Wednesday morning. So about 12 hours, a little over 12 hours after he was, and then his mother was arrested the next morning. So they found a shoe and supposedly other evidence by a dumpster where Vang was living. And they're still looking. Now his dad is in prison for 5 years. Jimmy Vue was found guilty of child abuse, high probability of great harm, possession of a firearm by a felon, battery, domestic violence, disorderly conduct, and possession of THC. So his mother claimed that he had beat her and the children. He has six children, 2 by Katrina. Arrested under charges of child neglect. They had bonds. We'll get set. Elijah Vue's mother has underage drinking and disorderly conducts, but nothing violent. She's been a drug addict on and off. I know she got clean in 2016, and then I guess again in 2022, which is when she got custody of her children back. So she didn't have them too long. I posted a couple of videos that she had done of Elijah. Just the cutest little thing. So sweet. It just makes you cry. Okay, so Vang and the mother were arrested for child neglect. Okay, probable cause statements have been sealed. Now, they were released today, so I'll go through those. But in court, district attorney said Bauer left her child with Vang in Two Rivers for a week for disciplinary reasons. LeBray said Bauer, who lives in Wisconsin Dells, provided false information. And that was her saying she didn't have a phone and she didn't have a car. Now I lost my place. So they've looked in various places. They've looked in a landfill. The FBI is involved in the case. They're asking people to search their properties. They're looking in waterways. They blocked up bridges. So far, they have nothing. Who do you recommend I listen to for the best coverage? Who is, I can't think. Jesse took a nap at 8 a.m. Yes, that's what he said. Let me think, Hurst. I can't remember who's covering it really well. Somebody that I watch. Who is it? Oh, okay, Eve. So, I went through her. The mother has several Facebook accounts. Why do people do that? And she posted some of these things. Children deserve to live without fear of the adults who care for them. I'm like, Mama Bear is such a sweet way to describe the fact that I'd rip you open and eat your insides if you hurt my child. And then she did what she did. She posted a lot of pictures of him. So here she was in this autistic children's group. The mom's neighbor called in. Oh, really? There's a couple of Facebook groups, if you're on Facebook, for Elijah, and most of the people connected with the case are in those groups. The Vue family, the Vang family, her sisters, uncles, cousins, her mom, his mom, neighbors, a lady that was actually in jail waiting for bail with Katrina. So she kept talking about meth. So she thought maybe Jesse got into their drugs. Although her best friend said she did not relapse, but she is on methadone, so she's still an addict. Oh yeah, but it's got all firsthand, people that were vetted in there. So I'd start from the beginning in those groups. There's pictures and videos. Okay, so here she was an autistic a group for autistic moms with autistic children. So her daughter was 5. So this was a year before, because he pushed my son 2 out of the wagon. Not a regular wagon. It's tall, has 2 seats. He fell straight on his head. Took him to the hospital 2 blocks away from my apartment, and he was unresponsive. So they called an ambulance. Turns out he's fine, just a minor head injury. It was terrifying holding my limp son, and I was mad at my daughter, but is it really her fault? Can she help these impulses? I don't know what to do about the violence anymore. It's mentally, physically, and emotionally draining me to the point I have no energy to do anything other than deal with her meltdowns and violence. She's supposed to be starting ABA therapy sometime in the next couple months. She just started school last week. She's repeating 4K, so she only goes 2 full days a week. I'd be kind of afraid of sending her to school. I'm a single mom and I live in a small 2-bedroom apartment, so for everyone that keeps telling me to just keep them separated, well, that's physically impossible. I want to start working part-time and I can't do that even from home because every time I look away, she's up to something or hurting her brother. It's gotten to the point where all I do is yell at her. Okay, we'll get to this. We'll get to that. Just let me read through this and then and here she is again, Autism Parent Support Group. My 4-year-old daughter, I don't think people with autism are usually violent, are they? But, maybe because the father was violent, she's taking it out on other people because that's what she's learned. Oh, I don't know what ABA therapy is, Bob. I guess I'll have to look into that. Okay. My 4-year-old daughter is currently in foster care due to her father being violent. Well, it's not exactly. When I left, I lost my home and they took my children. I have 2, but my 4-year-old is autistic. When she is angry, she has violent episodes. Gentle parenting works. However, the social workers are claiming I give her control, which is not the case, but they keep insisting I give her timeouts, which will not work for her. She wanted advice on how to handle these episodes because I've met all of the conditions to getting her back, but now they are making it harder on me by saying I need to show her who's in charge. Her neighbor said, I don't think your daughter is autistic. I think she's just a spoiled brat. Excuse me, sir, she was diagnosed at an autism specialty clinic, hours and hours of testing. Yes, my daughter is spoiled more than she should be, probably, but her dad was extremely abusive to her between the ages of 2 and 4 until I was able to leave. I'm trying to help her heal by providing everything she needs and giving her all the love in the world. Well, so he was extremely abusive, and she had Elijah during that time. Why would you bring a baby into that situation? I don't know. Oh my goodness. I know the kids like from those Russian orphanages have that attachment disorder and that causes them to be violent. Yeah, too many parents don't know how to be parents. Okay, so here we go. Here's the probable cause affidavit. So what she did, who is asking Kirst? What his mother did was send him to this Jessie Vang, who she's seen for the past 3 weeks. Her brother said he just magically appeared in her life. Her brother also said that her husband and this Jessie Vang trafficked her, Katrina, and got her hooked on meth 7 years ago. And people are kind of doubting that, thinking maybe the brother's just trying to make excuses for her. He said that she's being controlled and that Jesse's making her say these things. So I don't know. Most people in the group don't really give her brother much stock. But the Vue family has not spoken to Katrina in 3 years, which I think is odd. Although they are actually out looking, posting, organizing search parties, And Katrina's family is not doing any of that. Oh, hi, Felicity. Yes, that's true. Applied behavioral analysis. I'll have to look into that. Okay, so she sent Elijah to this Jesse, her new boyfriend. I don't know how he trafficked her 7 years ago, and then her brother also said he magically appeared in her life 3 weeks ago. So, which was it? I don't know, but other people said that she has been seeing him. I think it's longer than 3 weeks too, because they said that Elijah had been staying on and off with Jesse for a month. She sent him to Jesse to be disciplined. He's 3 years old. She sent him for a week this time. They said this is the longest he's been there. How much discipline problem can a 3-year-old possibly be? That you have to send him out to this guy who's a convicted child abuser. Okay, so they were both charged with child abuse. Wait till you read this. It's really sad. Here, Vang said they were trying to teach him how to be good here and good at home. He was trying to make him understand that going home is like a privilege for him. No, going home is where he belongs. He's 3. Okay, neglecting a child, specified harm did not occur in child under 6 years of age. Party to a crime. Let me go to my photos to get a better view of this. Okay. Spoke with Bauer. They're both pretty much the same. On January 20th, the Two Rivers Police Department was notified by dispatch that Jesse Vang called 911 at 10:59, reporting that he was babysitting a 3-year-old child victim. Vang reported that while watching the child, he fell asleep. When he woke up, the child was missing. Okay, what he said was he has a child who's autistic, and he took him to the bus stop, then came back to the house, and then went to sleep. And when he woke up, Elijah was missing. Yes, they both are, definitely. And on the police's radar. I think she got $15,000 bail and he got $20,000. Well, they can't really charge him with anything other than neglect at this point. Law enforcement responded to the Vang residence in an attempt to locate the victim. Law enforcement has been unsuccessful in locating the victim as of February 26th. Detective Klumpian spoke with Vang at the residence. Vang said he is in a relationship with the victim's mother, Katrina Bauer. Vang stated that the victim has been staying with him recently. He stated that he has been trying to help Bauer correct the victim's bad behaviors. He's 3. Vang stated that he has been assisting with the care of victim for approximately 1 month, but not continuously. Vang stated that on today's date, he woke up with his autistic teenage son. Vang helped his son with getting on the bus at 7:30. Vang stated victim was still asleep when he walked his son out to the bus. Vang stated that he woke victim at approximately 800 hours and brought him to the bedroom with him. Vang stated that he shut the door and Vang fell asleep. Vang woke approximately 1100 hours and found that the victim was gone. I think this is hers. Okay, law enforcement did conduct forensic extractions of Jesse Vang and Katrina Bauer's cell phones after they were consensually turned over to law enforcement. I know they also took a van and a car. Her non-existent cell phone and her non-existent car, they both took. Based on the analysis of these cell phones, specifically location data obtained, that law enforcement obtained information that contradicted Katrina Bauer's statements that she had not been in the Manitowoc area on February 16th and 17th. Law enforcement located messages from Vang to Bauer at 6:39 p.m. and 6:49 on February 17th, where Vang tells Bauer that he is angry that victim overfilled his diaper with poop and pee, and that Vang gave victim a cold shower. He's 3. Vang noted that victim was clean but scared. Yeah, I'd be scared too. Hi, Sagittarius Mom. Hi, Liam's Nana. Welcome. Detective Glazer spoke with Katrina Bauer, and she stated that Jesse Vang was the enforcer of rules in the relationship, and that was the reason for sending victim to stay with Vang. What 3-year-old needs an enforcer? I'm sorry, but this just makes me sick. She discussed with him the limits of what discipline she did not want used. Other than that, she is fine with whatever discipline Vang enforces. She gave examples of discipline, including praying, saying he was sorry, and going over 4 rules that victim is supposed to be memorizing. Seriously? At no point did she admit she was in the city of Two Rivers between February 12th and February 20th, or had any face-to-face contact with the victim. So he hasn't seen her for 8 days. His mom, he's 3. She said she was discussing behavior issues with Vang around Thanksgiving and said she needed to try harder to stop the behavior. Bauer stated she wanted Vang to teach the victim by example how to be a man. By abusing a 3-year-old? She said the first time victim had gone to stay by Vang without her was in January 2024. She said the past week was the longest time victim had stayed with Vang without her being there. She said she left Wisconsin Dells around 6 or 7 and arrived in Two Rivers late at night. She saw victim on the couch, but he was tired. Then she went back home. Okay, Vang consented to meeting with law enforcement at TRPD and agreed to a consensual interview. Vang made consensual statements in regards to his recent interactions with victim. Vang stated that victim is afraid of him, then corrected himself and stated that he respects me. No, he's afraid of you. He stated that they put victim here as punishment for his bad behavior. He's 3. They were trying to teach him how to be good here and good at home. Vang indicated that he is trying to make him understand that going home is like a privilege for him. Vang stated that victim was disciplined using timeouts. He described the timeouts as being standing for periods of time from 1 to 3 hours. During this time, victim was required to pray or say, "I'm sorry, mommy." Vang reported that victim was in timeout for the majority of his time with Vang, as it was intended as a form of boot camp. He was in timeout for 8 days? Other than getting into things, Vang was unable to identify specific bad behaviors which required a timeout. So he didn't even do anything, but he's in timeout for 8 days. Vang reports that the victim is not potty trained and he's still wearing diapers. I know kids that are 4 that are still wearing diapers. That made him mad. Vang advised that he change victim's diaper at least once per day. Once per day. On the evening of the 19th, Vang changed victim's diaper prior to prior to him going to bed at 8 to 9 p.m. He then watched a movie. He stated that the victim was not watching the movie as Vang put him in punishment. He stated that the victim will stand in the corner or stand by the bed by me. He gets pretty tired from standing. Really? For 3 hours? He explained he does not want to be mean to him, but is trying to teach him to be more respectful. How is that working? He was asked about February 19th if he made the victim stand, to which he replied, yeah, for probably like 2 to 3 hours. I know, yes. After the child abuse charges? Ugh, how did she knew this. How did she know this? I know, he did. He had dinosaur shoes. And they found one of those. Which something happened to him, or he wouldn't have left his shoe there. Okay, Vang confirmed again that victim stands for 2 to 3 hours without sitting. In the event that victim tries to sit down, Vang will say, "You want cold water?" He then indicated he's fine. It's not like his knees are shaking and about to fall over. Oh my God. I know. Hi, Sagittarius Mom. Did I say hello to you before? He is sick. And she knew. She went over what he was going to do when she sent him there. On the morning of 2/20, Vang woke up at approximately 7:30 and prepared his son for school. At that time, he saw victim sleeping on the futon sofa in the living room. Vang took his son to the bus stop and locked the apartment door. Well, then nobody took him, did they? Upon returning to the apartment, Vang found victim still sleeping on the sofa. He woke victim up and they ate breakfast. He ate cereal with no milk. Then they went to Vang's bedroom, where the victim was told to stand and pray near the foot of his bed from 8 till 11. He did not change victim's diaper as he was too tired. Lovely. Victim was not allowed to do fun things as he was in a timeout. When asked about any toys at the apartment, Vang reported that there was one toy which he received at Christmas time. This toy was similar to a toolbox. However, he was not allowed to play with it during the week of the 12th to the 20th as he was in timeout. Oh my God. It's just... When asked what happens if the timeouts do not work with victim, Vang stated that he would give him an ultimatum. Vang reported that the ultimatum was usually, "Do you want some cold water?" Vang reported that victim did not like cold water, but he did not know why. Yeah, for 3 hours. It would be, but it seemed like she would be more, I don't know. I think that's a separate issue from Elijah. And it's not like she sent him somewhere because his sister was being violent towards him. She sent him there because she thinks he's misbehaving. Yeah, he doesn't know why he doesn't like cold water. Well, before, when he messed in his diaper, he put him in a cold shower. That's probably why he doesn't like cold water. Doesn't take a genius to figure that out. When asked about what the victim ate while he was with Vang, he stated pizza, noodles, cereal, and similar items. He stated that victim was still bottle fed and he was trying to get him to eat regular food. Okay, so he's bottle fed. He wasn't giving him bottles. He was trying to get him to eat. So if he didn't eat, I guess he wasn't getting any food. He was unable to provide specific details as to the food. I think there's a lot here he's leaving out. What do you guys think? I know it's horrible. Horrible. While Vang was sleeping, he would lock the door to the apartment at the doorknob, deadbolt, and with a security chain to keep victim from walking out of the apartment. Vang reported that on the evening prior to the victim going missing, he had consumed 3 12-ounce Budweiser beers and 1 cyclobenzaprine as a sleep aid. That's a muscle relaxer. Okay, that's the end of that. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure he's not telling everything. I mean, why would he? He knows he's in some pretty serious trouble there. I know. I know. No, and he's raising an autistic son too. Does he treat him like that? Does he give him timeouts and cold showers and he doesn't say anything about any interaction between his son and Elijah, because Elijah was in timeout in the bedroom standing against the wall, right? Not allowed to talk? I don't know. Where's hers? That was his. He was a party to a crime, be responsible for the welfare of victim child. Through his actions, for reasons other than poverty, did negligently fail to provide necessary care so as to seriously endanger the physical, mental, or emotional health of the child. So if he's in the bed and Elijah's standing at the foot of the bed praying from 8 until 11, and then he wakes up and he's gone, how did he get out the door? If the deadbolt and the security chain and the door were locked, there's no way he got out. He didn't get out. Thank you, Eve. Oh, not just missing children, missing adults too. If you're not a blonde, blue-eyed child, you don't get attention, and that's just a fact. So let's see. Definitely. Especially this kind of abuse is way out of line. He's 3 years old. Why does he need that much discipline? It sounds like I bet she lost custody of her daughter and Elijah. So maybe sounds like she just doesn't know how to be a parent, right? I don't know. Okay, here's hers. Vang stated that. Okay, wait. Where's the part where Bauer. Detective Glazer spoke with Bauer. Bauer stated that victim has been in the care of Jesse Vang for approximately 1 week. Bauer resides in Wisconsin Dells. Bauer stated she dropped off victim with Jesse Vang on 2/12 in Fond du Lac. She intended on victim coming back to the Wisconsin Dells on Friday, February 23rd. So 11 days she's leaving him there. She denied that she was in Manitowoc on 16/17, and that's when they caught her lying. How do we even know that that's when he went missing? We don't, do we? Okay, let's see. The rest of it is pretty much the same as his. I don't think he respected him. Okay, it looks like it's the same. Yep, it's the same. I think Their next court date is, I believe, March 13th. Yeah, it's just horrible. Absolutely horrible. I don't know what to say other than that. Her daughter is with her family now. Not the Vues, not the Vangs, but Katrina's family. And who knows where little Elijah is. Okay, the other crime I wanted to talk about. I know there is this missing American couple whose yacht was hijacked. They went missing, and there was prisoners that escaped from Grenada, and they think that they hijacked this American couple in their boat. Now they're thinking that they were thrown overboard, hopefully not alive. The pair is presumed dead, according to separate Monday statements by two different law enforcement agencies. According to that statement, 3 suspects who escaped a prison in Grenada before hijacking the yacht, sailing off to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, committed several criminal acts, including bodily harm to the couple while sailing. When authorities eventually recovered the yacht, the scene was consistent with signs of violence. Someone saw the yacht and went on deck and saw signs of violence. Items were strewn around, blood. There was substance that resembled blood, but no bodies. So they think that the escaped prisoners traveled from Grenada to St. Vincent, which was 80 miles away, and they think they threw the couple overboard. Now they aren't. The Virginia couple, identified by their sailing club, were living out a long-held dream of cruising the Caribbean in their sailing yacht Simplicity. The trio were recaptured 3 days later. All 3 had been charged on suspicion of robbery with violence, and one of them was charged with rape and indecent assault. So their family said they were super careful. Safety was their top concern. They sold everything they owned and were living on the boat. It was their home. It was their life. She was retired. He worked in financial services from the boat. Kathy Brandel and Ralph Hendry. Those are their names. So where's my note here? That reminded me of 2 other cases, similar cases. I know. My notes. 2 other cases like that. Tom and Jackie Hawks. Now there's a couple of books about that. They're both the well-deserved. This was in 2004. Skylar De Leon and Jennifer Henderson, his wife, allegedly, Skylar was a bit player in the Ninja Turtle show when he was a little kid. He claimed that he was a star, but Tom and Jackie decided to sell their boat. That was also their home. And it's kind of sad. I mean, it's a love story. She was in a really bad accident and motorcycle accident. And then they met and fell in love and got this boat and put all their money into it. And, thanks, Eve. I think my voice is kind of raspy, but that's me. So what Skylar did was go and he said that he was a child star and he had all this money and he wanted to buy the boat. So he went to meet it and to do a sea trial, which is where they take you out and show you how the boat works and stuff before you buy it. He had his wife bring their little baby there to make it look like, they were a happy family, kids, kind of soften them up. And so they went out on the boat, and then he contacted 2 other people to go with him out on the boat to kill Jackie and Tom. And it was pretty terrible. They fought him, they beat him, they chained them together, and then they threw them overboard, still alive, and stole the boat. I can't think of anything worse. Of course, I'm petrified of water, but I can't imagine being chained and thrown overboard alive. I just think that's horrible. Another case of that was Mac and Muff Graham. Now, this was a case that Vincent Bugliosi, who wrote the book about Charles Manson, the Charles Manson case, he was the prosecutor. He wrote a book about this case called And the Sea Will Tell. And this was, their boat was the Sea Wind in 1974. They sailed to, same situation, sold other stuff, stocked up. We're going to be sailing on the boat for 2 to 3 years, I think. They went to Palmyra, which is a pretty isolated island that used to have a military installation on it. And because they thought they'd be alone there. But it didn't turn out that way, because here comes Buck Walker and Stephanie Stearns. And he's on the run. They lived in Hawaii. Buck is a criminal. Not a very nice criminal either. And they're running from drug charges. So they take this old rickety boat and don't really have provisions to last very long. And the boat isn't really seaworthy, but somehow they make it to Palmyra. And just act really uncivilized. Their dogs, everybody was afraid of their dogs. They used a chainsaw to chop down coconut trees and started climbing up and getting the coconuts. I mean, everybody was afraid of them. And then all of a sudden, they didn't have any provisions. So they were eating coconuts and something else, some kind of crab or something, I think. So here's this other boat with Mac and Muff on it that has a freezer, steaks, booze, all the comforts of home. That boat was just loaded with stuff. And they couldn't stand it. So they ended up killing the couple. There was a big trial. They were only caught because someone years later was at the island walking on the beach and saw this case, this metal case, and it had a skull in it. And that case was one of 2 that was missing from the Zodiac boat that Mac and Muff had. So he was never found. That was Muff's body, and it had a bullet hole in it. And they're assuming that, Mac is in the other case. Um, and that there was a big trial. And Vincent Bugliosi, Buck was convicted. And Stephanie insisted that even though she was right there with him with all this going on, and, their boats are docked next to each other, that she had no idea what was going on. She had no idea that he had killed them. And he got her off, amazingly enough. So, I don't know, just going over some similar cases. Yeah, I can't imagine a fate worse than being thrown and chained up or weighted down. I was so glad with Audrey Cunningham that the cause of death was drowning, or not drown, was not drowning. That it was blunt force trauma because, she was tied to a rock and thrown in the water. And I was just afraid for her. No child should have to go through any of that. I guess they found her pants on shore, I read. And her family released a statement that they had no idea that the guy that killed her, I can't remember his name, Gorley? Something, no, not Gorley. That's Eve. They were, according to their Christian beliefs, they believed in giving people second chances. And they knew he was a prison release, recently. Yes, McDougal, thank you. I knew it started with an M. That, they knew he had been incarcerated and was recently released, and they believed in giving people second chances. And because he wasn't on the sex offender registry, they had no idea. Well, did they look at his crimes? He wasn't just in prison once. He's a career criminal. I mean, I don't understand it. People are so careless with their children. They really are. And it's just a crying shame. That's another situation where the mom didn't have custody, and somehow the dad got custody, and he was no prize either. I don't know. People don't treat their children like their prized possessions. These people are selfish. Yes. If they did any kind of, background check, wouldn't they want to know what he was in prison for? We could all find it. So if they looked, but, they're saying that they're Christian, they believe in giving people second chances. And apparently seventh chances. You don't take a chance with your child. I'm sorry. You just don't. If you want to go out drinking with him or have him over, that's fine. That's your choice, but you assume the risk there, but your child doesn't have a choice. These people are selfish. They aren't living for the best life of their child. They're living their best life, and their child is just expected to somehow survive. That's the way I look at that. And sadly, they aren't surviving. So that's all I have for tonight. Thanks everybody for being here. Love you all. Thanks for Eve, my only mod that showed up. I think Misha's a mod now too, aren't you, Misha? Anyway, we'll see. I hope they find little Elijah. It would be terrible if they didn't. I don't know if these two are going to talk. I am surprised that they admitted as much as they did, actually. But, It can only get worse for him if they tell what happened. So I don't know. So yeah, everybody have a good week. We'll see you Thursday to talk about one of the more interesting missing persons cases. And thanks for being here. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Have a good night.